Welcome to another meditation and mindfulness Monday, and it's all about why meditate. And I'm Barb Kornbrath, I'm your host, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic nervous system is our fight and flight nervous system. It's really necessary when we're in danger, because what happens when we are stressed, our blood pressure goes up, our heart rate goes up, all of our blood and hormones are rushed to our big muscle groups and our limbs so that we can flee and we can protect ourselves by removing ourselves from a dangerous situation. So unfortunately, the mind can't detect the difference between stressors. So many times you might hear that the sympathetic nervous system is referred to as the tiger. And sometimes the tiger could be real, not very often, but if a tiger is chasing you, you need your sympathetic nervous system to kick in to get that, the stress hormones going, and you need to get out of there fast. And how wonderful is that? Because it protects us. But what happens when you have a heated argument with somebody, or a disagreement, or the communication just isn't there? Or what if you race up 3 flights of stairs? Or what if you're so stressed at work and you're worried about a deadline or a new project or a new interview? Whatever the stress is, it kicks our sympathetic nervous system into action. So it could be a real tiger, or it could be a paper tiger, right? Something imaginary. But it doesn't matter what the stressor is, because once the sympathetic nervous system is kicked and activated, there are several things that happen to the physical body. Number 1, our heart rate goes up, our blood pressure goes up, our muscle tension goes up. We lose the ability to digest our food because everything is going, once again, to those big muscle groups and to our extremities so that we can remove ourselves from this dangerous situation. So that's an example of the sympathetic nervous system. And unfortunately, due to big to-do lists and lower self-care options and so many things that we have to cope with throughout the day, our stress level is rising. Just the input through social media and the news and politics adds a level of stress to the mind-body. And when we stay in a sympathetic nervous system dominance, we can start to feel poorly. It leads to some discomfort in the body. It could be your stomach starts to hurt. Maybe you have pain in your chest. You're not digesting your food, you have headaches, you have pain in your back. So the stress starts to land in the body, and ultimately it starts to lead to disease, heart disease, diabetes, and so many other diseases because of our stress level. So the parasympathetic nervous system, on the flip side, is our rest, our digest, and our recover. And what happens when we kick into parasympathetic nervous system is the opposite of all of the things that happen to the physical body when we're stressed. So our blood pressure lowers, our heart rate lowers, our muscles relax, we digest our food. And when we digest our food correctly, we're able to absorb those nutrients. So we're actually nourishing our physical body a little bit more. So the parasympathetic nervous system also has what's called the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is also called the wandering nerve. And it's the longest cranial nerve in the mind, in the brain. And what happens in Vegas, V-A-G-U-S, doesn't stay in Vegas like it does in Nevada. It travels throughout the whole body. And so whenever we can activate our vagus nerve, we are doing something positive for the mind-body. And on the flip side, when we stay in that sympathetic nervous system dominance, we are desensitizing our vagus nerve. So why talk about this? Because meditation switches us from the sympathetic to the parasympathetic nervous system. And that is so powerful. Now, keep in mind that meditation, if you're not familiar with it, it can seem so daunting. You know, imagine sitting on a hard floor or a cushion and not having your mind settle. I've been there. But there are so many types of meditation. Later this week, I'll be demonstrating a stop meditation that I really encourage everybody to practice a lot, because every time we practice a meditation, a breathing technique, we create a little bit of space between the stressor. Because when something activates us and triggers us, we become that spinning story. And what happens is when we meditate, we create that little bit of space, we come back to the body, we switch, we start to transfer from that sympathetic, fight and flight to the parasympathetic nervous system. So that is a huge neuroscience why we want to meditate. So I hope you found that beneficial, and I will see you next Monday for another segment on why to meditate. Namaste.